Hello. I am so very sorry. Yeah, that was a very stressful couple of moments. So, well, actually 15 moments or whatever, but thank you for all of you staying in here. Luckily, I could communicate a little bit with you via my phone. Oh, okay, sorry, my phone is connected to my Facebook. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, this has been the day of days to okay, I won't forget this one real quickly. So anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for chatting, you guys. You guys almost don't need a show. You just need an ability to chat with each other. So I was reading a little bit. It's actually so good that you're all here. So I just want to say thank you to so many of you. I'm just going to go back from when I first saw what was happening. Mel and Rob have been here for quite some time, and Robin, Pauline, Jace, Joy of the Garden and Home, thank you. And anyway, I really give you all props for hanging around here. Uh, anyway, today was going to be all about like this time of the year. Hi, Steven. Gosh, I missed you guys last week, by the way. Joe, sorry. Uh, I did a very foolish thing that I should know better because I have my whole life been with absolutely no pigment. So, I'm almost blue white, and uh, I went out in the garden. This was maybe a Tuesday, might have been the day before last week, and I was there a longer time than I needed to be, and it didn't feel like it was all that hot or all that the sun was all that strong. But I gave myself a really good sunburn. And sunburns and MS do not coexist too nicely. So I have now bought a gallon jug of sunscreen and got my hat out so that I can keep all this at bay. And the problem is if I get like the back of my neck burned or anything near my spine, things just go south. So anyway, feeling much better. Uh, and once I get my head together here a little bit, because I literally was going to click uh, live when all crazy happened. Hi, Siggy. Thank you. I am feeling much better now. Thank you. Uh, so I was a couple of things. I guess more announcement-y. I have a very special video coming up. And it highlights something I got from Steve at Green Side Up that I've missed, or that I was reading, that I received after he passed. And there's a video about it, and I have constructed something for it to go on. So that'll be coming up really soon. I went to Bug Ben, you got it. Bug Ben lives again in Detroit instead of Cumbria. And I am so excited. It is so, it's so awesome in the garden. And my husband is a woodworker it used to be a profession, but now it's a hobby. So he really did Big Ben. Um, he gave it credit. So it's kind of like it's almost life size. It's not, but it's very tall and very big. So, and Steve's sign adorns it. So I'm thrilled to have that as part of the garden. I went a couple of days here. I think this was earlier this week, went to 2 garden centers. Oh, I could almost live in a big garden center. It brought me such joy to just look around and see all of these plants and all of the potential that all of this had. Um, no, Jace asked me if it's got scaffolding around it. Uh, no, but I think it did while it was going up. Yeah. Uh, anyway, what was I saying? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm a little frazzled. So I need to just take a deep breath. There we go. So I went one of these I took you all to last year on our show, or excuse me, on my channel. And this year we added another one. And I'm telling you, there is nothing, there's just nothing like a lovely garden center to just, whether you get anything or not. Unfortunately, I got a lot. Actually, I'm not going to say a lot. I think I was incredibly uh, reined in. I didn't overdo it. But it was just lovely to let somebody else grow it, and then I can grow it on. So, yeah. So I thought today we'd talk about planting, planting, because that's the season we are in, isn't it? Uh, we have until Saturday night. I still have nighttime temps like in the low 40s. I'm thinking that's like maybe 7 or 6 Celsius. And I don't want to get my tomatoes and peppers out yet, or eggplant. So my daughter and her fiance are coming over on Sunday because here in the US, this is Mother's Day weekend. And they're coming over to give me a few hours of labor and planting. So they might be planting for me my tomatoes and peppers. But I feel like right now it's the shuffle of getting things hardened off, getting them in the ground, sowing things for the next round, and taking care of the smaller seedlings that aren't quite ready to get out. Is that kind of where everybody finds themselves right now? I mean, I really think it's a juggling act. Um, and then I realized certain things I haven't, like I wanted to plant, what did I want to plant the other day? And I realized I hadn't hardened them off. And I thought, you can't miss that step, at least not here, because it will be getting hot sooner than later. Now that we're kind of, our nighttime temps are 50s to 60s, it's just going to get hotter. And that sun, if my sunburn was any indication, is pretty darn strong this year. So I want to make sure I don't miss those crucial steps. And yeah, Robin, that's a lovely Mother's Day gift. Honestly, that's the best thing I could ask for. Uh, yeah, and they just moved back to the area. So they were in Colorado. So I actually have a child that lives in the state that I live in. It's been a minute since that happened. Uh, Here, Jersey Dave. Hi, Dave. Is asking, does anyone know if you can take a cutting from a persimmon tree? Is this possible, and when is the best time to do it? Well, I have never taken one from a persimmon tree, but I do think it's always best if you can get, and I'm going to ask anybody to disagree with me if I'm incorrect here, but I believe it's better to take a cutting from new growth so that it's doesn't have the wood, the bark on it. That's my understanding. And I think now would be like, I think you can almost do that anytime, can't you? Well, maybe you can only do it when there is new growth. So maybe spring or fall. Um, yeah, I'm feeling that. So I think that would be my answer to that, Dave. I hope that's helpful. And Jace, I think you're right. I have more plants at the moment, I think, than space. And I started some of the other things a little too soon, like the things to replace the things that are gonna be coming out. So I'm gonna have to juggle that too. And that was more, I think that was more my, I won't say anxiety, I would say excitement to get these things going and wanting to not have dead bed space this year. I really want that when something comes out, something new can go in. And if it's flowers, I'm really fine with that. I added some flowers to my raised beds now, a couple clematis, and these plants. They're annuals, but they're called king tuts, and um, they get really tall. So I'm thinking in my big raised beds, I think it'd be beautiful to have this big 6-foot plant right in the center. So we'll see how that goes. Robin needs some hints uh, to get stock to survive. I have some germinated that are 3 inches tall, and that never happens. Hints to get stock to survive. Uh, oh, stock, the plant. Sorry. I'm like, okay, I got it. Uh, well, if they're 3 inches tall, are you having trouble getting them larger than that? I'm having some problems with my sowings kind of getting stuck at a small height. And so I'm potting them on, getting them new compost, giving them a little fish fertilizer, trying to help them take that next step. Now, stocks, I haven't had that problem. Um, has anybody else had that problem with stocks? See, I think if you got them to 3 inches, they just might need to get in the garden. Are they hard enough to get into the garden? Because I find that when I get those plants that are they're really going to do well once they're in the garden, um, they just take off. But I don't know if anybody else has, please say so, and I will uh, make sure that Robin gets to see that. Oh, yeah. Hmm. So you're a stock killer. Okay. I They don't take, I mean, I to me, you treat them almost like a zinnia. Uh, they like water, but they don't like to be sitting in it, and they like full sun. Um, I don't know, maybe they were in too windy of an area. Maybe they were, I wish I could troubleshoot that better. But I've not had problems with stock before, and it doesn't look like anybody else has either. Uh, okay, Jace is also saying he's had lots of plants stall this year. Ah, I got new seed for a couple of tomatoes this year, and it's from a company I've never ordered from before, but not one of them germinated. And but I feel like my tomatoes got stuck. A lot of them got stuck at about 2 inches. They've got their second leaves. They seem to be doing well, Well, they're not. Uh, yeah, and maybe they just would like more feed. I don't know. I try to give my flowers a lot more fertilizing than my vegetables. Um, and I'm thinking this year, I think Miracle Grow now has an organic version of theirs, and I think I might try that just with my plants, or excuse me, just with my flowers, because I really want a good showing of flowers. So anyway, I was also watching you guys talk while I was trying to uh, fix this glitch, and I saw potatoes were being talked about, and I've realized I haven't planted one potato yet. So I think tomorrow might be a big potato planting day. Uh, yeah, it's so nice, Rob, that you guys all live so close to uh, seawater. We have a lake here. It's a large lake, but there's no seaweed in it because that's such a great source of nutrition for the plants. And the thought of just being able to go down to the or up to the North Sea, whatever, and grab some seaweed, uh, it's lovely. Yeah, no, I'm getting them in because I'll take them even if they're little. But I have a whole lot of potatoes that need to be uh, planted. So I guess I'm just going to plant them all at the same time, and we'll see what happens. Um, but yeah, so I'm also trying to grow on these things that are feeling like they're just stalled. So I'm switching things outside, putting them back inside. Um, oh, Mel buys seaweed feed in bottles. Yeah, I have a seaweed fish, organic fish fertilizer. Uh, but again, I'm not near the sea, so I just assume all of you over in the UK can just go grab some seaweed when you want. And I realize it's bigger than that. I'm just maybe it's just my fantasy that you can just go do this. Uh oh, okay. Leanne is planting. She planted her seed potatoes. Oh, come on. Here we go. On Sunday, trying some potatoes from seed. I've seen those. And those I'm very anxious to hear how those do. Uh, obviously never done those, but yeah, I'll be very anxious to see how those do. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, I planted or sowed a new strain of. It's a garlic leek hybrid. It's called garlic, and planted kind of a flat of those, and they are starting to come up. So I'm very anxious. It's done by Row 7 Seeds, and I think Robin might be having a grow off with these seeds. Um, but the germination has been great, and it's it's a leek with garlic flavor, so or garlic overtone. So I'm very excited to see how that tastes. Uh oh, I got the garlics yesterday. Oh, this is Laura from the tiny garden. She got her garlics yesterday. Yeah, mine are. I mean, they're the pencil thin little onions coming up right now, and yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, this is like a new thing. I don't even know if they had these last year. Um, and Row 7 is a group that it's chefs and vegetable. breeders who work together to produce food that chefs or varieties of food that chefs will really enjoy or are looking for. So, very exciting. So, Mel, we get them from row 7 over here. It's a US based company. Uh, I'm just I'm thrilled to like get them in the kitchen and see what they're like. But anyway, I don't think I've seen like a brand new variety of something like that in a long time. But I'm also growing their um, they're called Midnight Romas. So they're like a Roma tomato that has like a dark purple swoosh in it. And I'm growing one other of their varieties. I think it's one of their no, it's not their squash. I don't think I'm growing squash this year. Um, which is very unusual for me, but I bought a whole lot of potatoes. Um, and I think I'm gonna and a whole lot of flowers. So for this garden party that is still happening, uh, that's kind of why I think I started some things a little too early because I even think sometimes flowers do well if the whole plant is refreshed. So I'm trying to make sure I have enough backup so that there's enough flowers so people can take some with them too when they leave. So, anything that you guys are finding particularly challenging at this time of year? I'm hoping weather is starting to be our friend. Um, well, uh, Mel, let's talk after the show. I might be able to get you some of those seeds. I may have some left. Um, so I know you love to try new things as well. So let's talk. DM me or how do you? Yes, I sound like I don't know what that means, but I know we've chatted before, Mel. So let's talk about that. So what else are people finding at all challenging this year? Um, or is it all kind of feeling like I am, where it's the juggling, the juggling, the juggling? Uh, yeah, I thought March was rough. This month is feeling a whole lot more chaotic to me. So I decided, kind of like I'm deciding now about the whole not getting being able to get on for 15 minutes here today. I have to just breathe through my nose and go, it'll happen because things will catch up. If you don't get them in the day you think you will, I have like I have a plan. I do have a plan and I can't always meet it, but you have to go, sometimes you just gotta take a deep breath and go, they'll get in. The potatoes will make it, and if they're smaller potatoes, we'll just call them a gourmet. So there's no, reason to be crazy upset about that. Tim's Taste of Paradise so far is doing well. Uh, okay, so they're kind of acting like Brad's Atomic Grapes to me. I always find Brad's to be that. And now this year, my Brads look fabulous. And normally they're the ones that look like you said, are a little diva plant. Um, they have they have been doing great. Now Tim's, I will have to check on because I didn't look at them right before we came on here, and they might be outside of my uh, deck table hardening off a little bit. Um, yeah. Well, and yeah, they are tidying. they might be some of my little ones, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that are still not growing much. Um, yeah, Leanne, I agree. I think that was a little bit for me too. Um, I was holding off because our nighttime temps were really so the only things that my broccoli's doing fabulous because that went out, gosh, that went out 6, 7 weeks ago. My lettuce is doing great because it went out at the same time. But then to move into your warmer things, it's a little hard because you gotta wait. I mean, you have to watch that nighttime temp. Um, so you hold, and then sometimes you end up holding too far, and the season is kind of gone. So Pauline's tomatoes are really small as well. Um, oh, Margaret Alice, who doesn't? I've sown, I've sown far too many seeds again. I give over 150 potted plants to a charity plant sale. Wow. Well, then I don't think you potted too many. That's a very generous thing to do. Does anyone else find it hard to compost seedlings? Absolutely. I mean, this year I have been the most brutal I've ever been when thinning, because if it's viable, I do not want to just snip it off, and that's why I end up with more seeds than or more seedlings than I can ever deal with. So it's kind of a two-edged sword. So this year I really did. I composted a lot, and it was not my favorite thing to do. But I just knew I was going to get in real big trouble. Oh, Joe is saying that his Tims are tiny too. Wasn't there a guy, Tiny Tim? Yeah, right. Uh, yeah, so mine really might be back on my grow shelf with the other stunted ones. Uh, yeah. Well, maybe they are just so good they take a minute to get going. That's what we'll that's what we'll say anyway. Hi, Claire. You're welcome anytime you can get here, honey. Uh, ah, uh, Jace, you have a distinct viewpoint on life. I like it. Seedlings are babies to be cherished. Young plants are like teenagers. Get them out and fend for themselves. I can't tell you how many plants this year I've said, putting you in. I'm not doing anything after that. Uh, good luck. Welcome to the world. Uh, yeah, it is hard. This is Marie Louise. I've been hardening off my seedlings. The hardest thing I'm dealing with is wanting to plant them out. I have one more weekend of possible frost. Yes. And I almost think that's kind of a way to slow us down in our let's just get it all out. But I think it does allow us a little time to go, no, we need to be hardening some things off. And that kind of gives us a minute to do that. I even was thinking and I think maybe it was some of my tomatoes. I just wanted to get them out. And I knew it was too early, but I just wanted to get them out. And a lot of times it's because uh, on the potty mouth group, a lot of them have their tomatoes already in, but they're not in my climate. So I have to remember that we're talking about two different things. And uh, but I was going to put shade cloth over them uh, so that they wouldn't be like overly scorched because I didn't harden them off properly. And I thought, that's just absolutely silly. So I didn't do anything. I'm just trying to harden them off um, the old-fashioned way. Oh, and I think Pauline, your cosmos should do fine. I think they're pretty, oh. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. I had some come up in my winter sowing, that are still on my deck, waiting to be planted on. Uh, and Claire is saying, her Abraham Lincoln tomatoes came up from her winter sowing, but my frozen ones didn't work. Your frozen Abraham Lincolns or your frozen containers? Because mine got pretty frozen, but they're doing better. Yeah, and I agree, Rob. I think it's because also, uh, like my buddies who are doing that, they also they're putting them in polytunnels, so they have an extra layer of protection, and they have an extra layer of heat. That's those get really warm. So I think much more, much more conducive to early tomatoes than I have. Oh, interesting. I froze tomatoes and tried to plant those to see if they defrosted and germinated. Very interesting. And it didn't work. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Because you think sometimes when the tomatoes fall off a plant, they lay there underneath it, and you think sometimes they get frozen before their seed is in the ground. Interesting. Jace, you're absolutely right. 10C is the magic number. Um, we all look for that one. Robin is saying, this year I had the best luck with winter sowing. I am such a fan of doing the winter sowing right in the garden. Those plants are larger and healthier. I had my best year as well with winter sowing. And next year, I am going to plan I mean, I'm going to do a lot of the jugs where you split them, but I'm also going to do some where I just cut the bottom off the jug and do them in place, because I think that is kind of brilliant. And it's really the same thing, only you don't have to move them. And they're going to be really happy right where they are. So, yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree. And they probably look great now because they're rooted in. They didn't have no shock, no nothing. Just take the dome off and welcome them to their happy little place. I have 1,000 tomato weeds. Now, okay, what is a tomato weed? Is that different, or your tomatoes are dealing with a lot of, I mean, weeds right now, and I think Jace might have mentioned that earlier. Uh, they're happy because a lot of the ground is not covered yet, and they're finding their holding spot and are happy to just take over. So yeah, weeds right now are nasty. But the nice thing is, because of all the rain we're getting, they seem to pull out quite easily, and they're not, at least mine have not been perennial weeds. These are just weeds that have blown in. So they pull out very, very easily. Oh, hot biscuits. I love hot biscuits. It is such a beautiful amaranth. Uh, I'm not growing it this year, but such a beautiful amaranth. You will love that. Yes, you will love that. Oh, I love it. Okay, now I get it. Tomato weeds. Self and so you could dig those out if you wanted more tomatoes. I don't know what your tomato situation is, but yeah, volunteers. I love volunteers. Uh, they always seem to be very happy to grow, and although you don't always want them, because isn't it the definition of a weed? Something that's growing somewhere where you don't want it. Um, so that helps me uh, deal with calling things that aren't weeds weeds. Uh, I feel like chamomile is kind of a weed. I love it, and I transplant it when I find it, but it goes everywhere. It goes everywhere. And in one of the pots that I wanted to grow it this year, it self-seeded all over it, and I didn't grow it there last year. So I don't know what that's about, but oh, mare's tail. Sorry. Sorry, Claire. That's a nasty one. Oh, nice. I have never winter sown tomatoes, but listening to how good some of you do with that, that is wow. 5 winter sown toms. Wow. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? No, have you guys do you any of you grow lamb's ears? It's a perennial and it kind of I guess looks like a lamb's ear. It's soft and fuzzy, but I'm finding those all over my garden this year. I didn't know they were a spreading plant. Um, so have any of you else found that? Because I'm thinking, wow, had no idea that they would spread like that. Yeah, I have a lot of dandelions. Well, I don't know where they all came from, but the lawn is excuse me, has got a lot, and they go to, the pretty little dandelion seed things so quickly that I think, wow, I've just allowed that to spread to all kinds of other places. So trying to get those out without I don't like to use things on my lawn. I just don't. So I try not to, but I almost want like a little squirt bottle of something just to get to the dandelion and thank it for coming. But I don't know if that's going to be a good idea or not. In my beds, I just pull them out. I know. That's what I think. Um, I know. And they're pretty, kind of. They're pretty, kind of, right? At least in my bed, they're so much easier to get out. Um, in the lawn, not so much. Rob is also saying this year dandelions have come from nowhere. Maybe it's just a good year for them. Claire, absolutely. On a nice sunny day, squirt them with vinegar. You're a smart woman. You're absolutely right. I forget about that because that's a great way to get those weeds out between the cracks in your cement, too. Pick a nice sunny day and just shoot them with vinegar. Oh, now this sounds like a really good idea. Uh, my mom had luck killing back the mare's tail by cutting it and heavily mulching it with alfalfa. Can be a meal or just get animal feed alfalfa pellets. Apparently, changing the pH is important. So, for those of you that struggle with mare's tail, that sounds like that might be something to try. Well, Joy, if you'd like to come here, I have plenty of dandelions for your chickens. I think chickens on a garden. I don't think I ever thought this before, but what a brilliant idea. You know, it's like full circle life. They take so many of the garden scraps, turn them into lovely eggs that you then can enjoy. So and they give you great chicken poo compost. So yeah, great idea. My mare's tail is more persistent than a horde of hench zombies on pre-order. So you're saying that your mare's tail is really bad. That's what I'm hearing. I saw you cutting that out on one of your videos, and I thought, oh heck no, that is nasty, nasty stuff. Nasty. So, what are the goals for that? Does anybody have goals for this weekend? Because I know not a lot of us do the majority of gardening on a weekend. Is there like I want to try to get this in, want to like what is the immediate plans? Creeping buttercup. It sounds really pretty. I have a feeling maybe it is, but it's also a weed and it's a pain. Oh, wow. Well, I hope at least it's pretty while it's there. That's about the only thing I can say to that. Toms might go out. Yeah. Awesome, Jace. That's truly kind of the beginning of summer. Oh, and we just passed, I think Monday. Yeah, because we didn't have potty mouth. Was mid-spring. So we're halfway through spring to summer. Dave is putting everything in the cold frames. Siggy is getting tomatoes out this weekend and hope for the best. Awesome. Marie Louise is preparing beds, weeding, adding amendments if the rain holds off. Isn't that the truth? You know, but it's spring, and although it's May, so it's April showers bring May flowers. So May should be chilling out a little bit. But Joe is here. I can pull these up that you guys can read too. Joe is planting out flowers grown from seed, cosmos, marigolds, antirrhinum, poppies, alyssum. Beautiful. Where did this one? Oh, this popped up right behind me. Ha! Started clearing some ground where the old sprouts, etc., were. They let me use it, so I need to continue that. There you go. That's really nice. Our backyard neighbors do that. Half of my back 40 is not actually on my property, but my neighbors are like, if you'll take care of it and, make sure it's not all weedy, you're welcome to it. And I'm like, thank you. I will do that. I even planted tulips for them on their side because I thought that's a very kind thing for them to do. So I'm all about it. So Joy is restarting beets. They failed in the ground last month. Oh, chipmunks. They're almost like squirrels, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, somebody dug into my geranium flat that was on my deck table, and we're gonna see what can come of it. You know, it's like we wanna work with nature. I'm like, "I'd let you have some of these, but don't just decide you're gonna take it." Um, oh, Pauline is working with a charity barge on Friday. Good for you, Pauline. Have fun. I think Claire's asking if you have mulch and would like to provide it to her. She would love that. uh, by this weekend, I hope to have 70% of the greenhouse stuff planted. Wow. That's for us too. Saturday night. I think Detroit and Chicago really seem to mirror each other in some weird ways. But yeah, that's our last. I think we're going down to like 44 that night. And so Sunday, when the help is here, and I hopefully can get my husband to help too, who he does not love gardening. Actually, he really doesn't like it. He loves to enjoy the fruits of the gardening, but it's not his thing. But maybe on Mother's Day, even though I'm not his mother, he still might throw in a little help. But he did build bug ben for me, so I can't say too much. Look at this. Isn't it the best? Claire had her first ever asparagus picking. Oh, we had asparagus from the garden last night with Scottish salmon. We have a fish store here that gets Scottish salmon like flown in. So I think the point is it was swimming in Scotland somewhere 2 days before we get it in this store, and then we bring it home and get to it's so good. It is so good. So we had that with our asparagus last night. It was lovely. So good for you, and you will have that for decades now. Love, love, love asparagus. Oh, Joe. Yeah, no, the cicadas are not here yet. It's still to come. I think Chicago is gonna get hit way worse than we are. Uh, but we're still I think we're just here's the big deal, and I have 2 little bushes I'm putting out. I have a new rose bush, so I have to kinda it's worse on young trees. That's kind of the big issue of what they do. They're not gonna eat any of our produce, they're not gonna but they can damage young trees. So you kinda have to be a little overly zealous about that. I just think it's gonna be deafening to sit outside once they're here. And you just know they're here because they're so loud once, the evening comes. Um, yeah, yeah. But once the temperature goes hot, they all of a sudden show up. And it's almost like one day they're here, the next day or no, one day they're not, next day they're here, and then they're here for a long time. And, yeah. So I'm excited to see what this is gonna mean and how many of them I'm gonna have to actually see. Uh, I think I'm growing 9 star this year. Okay, now this is, a question to the UK crowd. Um For my second tea, okay, so I know, uh, tea like, for us, tea is something you do mid-afternoon, like, you go to a tea. But I know that I think you guys call what we call dinner tea, so I'm curious what a second dinner is. A second tea, sorry, unless we're talking about something that I'm not familiar with. But that just it confuses me because it's also a drink. So, yeah. Yes, Siggy, 9 star is perennial, yes. I'm not sure it will be here, but I believe it is in the UK where I got the seeds. Um, yes, Joy, it will be all voiceover videos when the cicadas come out, for sure. Although, I've been filming a lot. I have a good half dozen videos that I need to edit, and, um, there's so much lawn work now going on during the day that I almost can't, uh it's either trees are being cut down or, these lawn groups come in and everybody's mowing, and it's crazy. So, lot of voiceovers for sure. Oh, Ian, thank you. Feeling much better. Thank you so much. Rob does not like broccoli. So, sorry, Rob. Uh, I have a whole bed of it, and I'm thrilled because I really like I like broccoli. So, sorry, I guess, to each their own. Okay, here we go. Lunch is dinner, and dinner is tea, at least where I'm from. Okay, thank you. That helps. Okay, dinner is lunch. Okay. Isn't that interesting how we all kinda it's all the same but different, right? Uh, okay. See, it's just interesting. If you're Northern in the UK, it's tea in the evening. If you're Southern, it's dinner. In the North, we might have supper at night. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I love it, Claire. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Because we do also call dinner supper, I think, too, but that's mainly a Southern state thing. Um, they're more about calling it supper. I don't know why. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. Uh, what just popped up on my computer? Okay, it's food o'clock. Okay. Okay, so this weekend might be a big weekend for a lot of us, getting things out because maybe the rain has lightened up a little bit, or at least is manageable, and the weather might finally be in our favor, which I'm just thrilled about. So I think I'm going to try to get potatoes in tomorrow. Oh, I still have onions to get in. I'm a little my clock is a little off. So I need to get those in quickly because days are getting longer and they need a few minutes to fatten those greens up so they can produce some nice bulbs. Uh yeah. So I really did miss you guys last week. So I'm so glad we were able to get on today, and I'm very thankful that you guys all stuck around. That was a rough start. Um but hopefully that's taken care of. So, and I think next week I have a guest. I'm not going to say who because I didn't look at my list, but I think I do have a guest next week. And I know I've had you guys on here a long time. Uh, oh, thank you, Robin, Pauline. That's very sweet. So yeah, so I'm gonna say farewell for the day. Thanks so much for being here. I really enjoy chatting with all of you. I wonder if sometime we could do this on Zoom. That might be fun. Um, get faces to a name, huh? That might, at least for everybody that's not um, camera shy. Um, I've been camera shy most of my life, so I'm just gonna say if I can do this, you can do Zoom. So maybe we'll try that. That would be fun. Um, oh, thank you, Marie. Yeah, happy mother. I forget, when you have grown children, it's I mean it's lovely, but it's oh, thank you, Rob. You guys are all so kind. Thank you. I hope that you all have a lovely week, and I will be back next week because I have a gallon of sunscreen and I'm not going to get burned anymore. Uh, all right, Joy. I'll hold you to that. That's awesome. Uh, and I hope your name is Joy. I realize I'm calling you Joy. Uh, I just assumed, and maybe I shouldn't do that. Um, oh, thank you so much, Stephen. And yeah, you guys just all have a great week. And we'll be back next week. And again, I'll have okay, good. Awesome. We will do this again next week. And y'all take care. Bye.